one of the first female DJs to break through into the top 10 and DJ Mag's top 100.
I would say like 99, 2000, I would have thought.
There's some big names in that top 10.
Yes. Oh, huge names. I said to myself, as soon as I start making more money than my Marks and Spencer's job, I'm going to quit. And it was a difficult decision because obviously I had a stable job, all the ladies there, I'd been there 8.5 years, nearly 9 years, and they were all my family. You know, I was 16 when I started. Yeah, I just handed my notice in one morning when I played about 4 or 5 gigs in Birmingham one weekend, went to M&S on the Monday, and I thought,
Carl Cox, he's championed some of your music as well.
He has. Got to Space. Carl was like, got me a drink or whatever. And I gave him a USB. Didn't think he was going to play them that night. He played them one after the other. I was like...
How did he even had time to flick through them?
Well, he didn't. He obviously trusted me. And I was, gosh, I hope I hadn't, got the wrong one on the thing. Can you imagine? A couple of supermodels and Naomi Campbell and stuff like that dancing to a couple of my tracks. I was like, this is the most surreal moment. We rented venues. We'd take all the kids that wouldn't go to school, were about to be excluded. We were like, come to us. We'll give you a 12-week course and we'll put them straight back into education. And the teachers and the head teachers were like, what have you done with this child? The child is completely different. The police sergeant came in to do a fire check and he was like, what's going on here? And he said, would you like to come and we would really like to work with you for some of our kids who are getting into some serious trouble. Out of all of them, I mean, some of them would have got guns and they're all going to prison. They'd all got tags on. After the 12 week, not one of them reoffended. And still to the day, not one single one has reoffended.
Lisa, lovely to see you again. I hope you're well. How have you been?
Very, very well. Thank you. Just been in the studio yesterday. I've got my drive to go in and make loads of hard house tracks as it's my 30 years in the industry next year. So...
Yes, as you just mentioned, because obviously I haven't spoken to you for a while. And so you've gone full circle then, haven't you? You've gone through lots of different genres, techno, house, hard house. Trance, yeah, of course. And so I am originally into hard house. So the amount of tracks I've had of yours over the years is insane. I still remember buying them. And I know I sound like a broken record for people who've seen my previous podcast, but I got my record collection stolen. And that was my trigger to go to Ibiza, to move to Ibiza, because I was devastated. So when I interview people, I do this like a deep dive into their history, and a lot of people like yourself, Lange, Steve Mac, all those sort of people. I went, oh my God, that's their tune. That's their tune. And then I had a look at your discography yesterday, and exactly the same thing happened. I was just like, my God, how many tunes has this woman been involved with? I
believe.
How many?
Well, it's probably about 100. I'm going to take these off because these are rattling. 101 tracks I think I've done, but then I've done another 11 this year. So,
and you've been involved in loads of really quite now iconic compilations as well, haven't you?
Yeah, well, like Euphoria. I mean, that's 25 years next year.
Can't believe where does the time go?
I know. The orange one as well, down in Kettering with Amadeus from the Tidy Boys, in the studio, kind of mixing it on vinyl, getting all the tunes together and stuff like that, getting them licensed. So yeah, that was an absolute treat.
I remember the days of the compilations that are actually mixed on vinyl. So let me take it right back. How did it all begin for you, music?
Right, so how it all began for me was basically a night out with my friends. I was working at Marks and Spencer's. I'd just gone through, I got married really, really young. Probably nobody knows about this, but I was 17, I believe. It didn't work out. My friend came round, things were going a little bit wrong. And she's like, right, there's a new club in Birmingham. We'll want to take you to it. We're going to go and have a laugh and stuff like that. It's an all-nighter, so we got ready and stuff. And it was Moneypenny's at Bonds in Birmingham, which is, well, obviously like 30 years old, isn't it now?
Yes.
I kind of went there, and I'd obviously be going to like the normal nightclubs, the Madisons in Nuneaton and the Pink Parrots in Coventry, and stuff like that. But this was where I first kind of walked in, and I went, "This is where everyone is." I was like, and I think for 2 years, every single Friday and Saturday, I was in Birmingham clubbing. It
Moneypenny's has got a lot to answer for. Uh,
has in a beautiful way.
it's come up in a few of my podcasts with DJs who kind of started there or have like an affinity with that place where they began. And obviously we've got I know Lee way back in the day from Ibiza, and he does his chuff chuffs
I
and
used
stuff.
to love the chuff chuffs. They were going
I'm sure, yeah,
It wasn't quite white when you got back. It was, you were filthy. But in these beautiful homes, all around the world.
yeah, they're exceptional and iconic parties again. So you're originally from the Birmingham
I,
area.
I was born in Coventry, so I'm a Coventry girl. And then I moved to Nuneaton, which is another little town near there. And now I live in Leicester. So I'm
In Leicester, okay. And the DJ side of it, how did that all come about? Because obviously there's difference between being a clubber and then being a DJ.
so so when I went to Moneypenny's, I saw Lisa Loud was there and John Kelly. I mean, everyone was kind of having dancing and having fun and stuff, but I was one of those people that were just at the side of the DJ booth, just staring at them, going, "What literally are they doing?" At that time, people weren't kind of dancing to the DJ either. It was
Mm, mm.
just all over, that kind of thing. So there was this like little kind of DJ booth near the dance floor that two people were in there kind of doing stuff. And yeah, I mean, I was there for like 5, 6 hours, probably annoying them. Lisa Loud, John Kelly, Jim Ryan, and it was the old kind of like the house music and stuff. So it was all
Yep.
like beautiful, and everyone was in a loving mood for different reasons.
y-
And
Yeah. Yeah.
that really started me. I think I went from there that first night of going out, and then I went to Stoke-on-Trent and saw Sasha playing in one of the parties. So I kind of went all out for that weekend, and yeah, never looked back really. But what happened then was when my friend came to live with me. Her boyfriend had a pair of decks. His mum was sort of like, "It's too loud," da, 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 and he was like, "Can I come and bring him around here?" So we set up in my dining room in Nuneaton, and yeah, I weren't allowed on the decks at first because obviously back then, do you know what I mean? It was kind of like the boys and they're like, "Don't be, what are you doing? You're going to break the needle," that kind of stuff. But so I worked at Marks and Spencer's, and I used to get the bus at dinner time home. He knows about this now, so don't worry about that. Thank you, Paz. I used to get the bus home in my uniform, do an hour on the decks, and then go back to work, sort of thing. While he was at work, he worked at the Jag. So there was one time he caught me. I've only been playing sort of like 6 or 7 weeks, and he came over poorly, and I was on the deck, sort of like he was like, "What's going on?" And he said, "Go on, then have a go." And I just could mix. I just kind of taught myself how to mix by ear, really, watching what the guys were doing and watching what they were doing at Moneypennies and stuff like that. And I really kind of resonated with me. So I was like, this is where I want to be. This is my
I
path.
still remember learning how to mix, and it was like just watching. And you're totally right. I mean, when I first went to clubbing, I didn't even know where the DJ booth was. I even remember seeing some DJ booths with the DJ was facing a wall. And it was just like there was no interest in the audience. It was, I'm just here to play the music. And they were like in this cage facing a wall. That was a 4-on-4 club in Brixton
Yeah.
with Skull and Rooster. They used to play down there. And I thought, that's bizarre. They literally are facing the wall,
Yeah.
and they just have to look to their right to see the audience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember the squabbles that me and my mates used to have over who's mixing next, and uh, who's going back to back, how many tunes you're doing, especially after you come back from a rave and stuff like that. And obviously, so you were pushed to the side, were you, when the boys were around?
Was pushed to the side. But then I think when they realised that I could, mix quite easily and stuff, they would throw in some different tracks for me. They'd be like drum and bass and this and that, and I
Yeah.
was just able to get them in. It was just one of those things.
Do you remember your first gig?
First gig was on a boat. It was,
Uh,
yeah, so somebody's birthday party down Stratford upon Avon. So the River Severn. Is that right? Or the River Trent? River Severn. Um, and it was their birthday. And this is why you should just like go and kind of do what out of your comfort zone, because I'd only really been playing sort of like at home, sort of like 6 or 7 weeks. It was partying, got invited, got my tunes down, and there was Matters from Sunday Central there. It like who was a friend of the birthday boy as well. So I literally played for hours and hours and hours. One of those like, oh, I just want to play. The barge was bumping up the side, and the needle was going, but I didn't care. Took it back to the beginning. Doesn't matter. And yeah, I played for hours, and after that, Matters was like, I'm thinking of doing a super club. What, can I get your number and stuff like that? I was like, yeah, whatever. And then yeah, it kind of yeah, the vision.
The universe definitely aligned for you, didn't it?
Exactly, it really did. Like that time, I think as well. What like the Spice Girls was sort of like number one. It was very girl powery at that time. When I first started.
Yes.
So I think a lot of clubs wanted a female kind of presence, sort of like it musically there. And it was quite funny because Madda said, I'm glad you can admit it didn't matter if you didn't. Do you know what I mean? If you didn't, I was like, well, that's a mean thing to say. So I used to tell him off all the time, like, you can't do that. That's unfair. Like,
It was the Spice Girls era, wasn't it? Because I remember we used to watch, is it so called The Box, where people used to text in a tune, and they used to play it on TV or something like that. And then
okay,
I saw these girls, me and my friend who were going clubbing at the time, who used to live with me, and my mum at my mum's house, and the Spice Girls come on, and we were dancing around to this wannabe song, yeah, just as a joke because it was so cheesy.
yeah,
We had no idea it was going to be this absolute legendary track that would launch this girl band
yeah,
into the
yeah,
stratosphere. My mum thought we seriously liked it, and the, the next day she come home with the CD. And she goes, "Here we go. He like it so much." She's, "Oh, thanks, Mum." She got me this. Bless her. She got me the CD. But yeah, I clearly remember it being the Spice Girls era.
that's good.
Um,
It was,
so
wasn't it? Very girl powering. I think a lot of the girls
absolutely,
at that time as well. I mean, there's Anne Savage, Lisa Pinup, all the kind of Tiger Girls people. They were all doing it before me, but I think I was just in the right time, the right place. Birmingham was about to have the big super club, Sunday Central. Madison was already putting on sort of like Just Till Dawn, which was Burton on Trent and a few little Birmingham areas and stuff like that, which I was playing at. So it was, yeah, it was a natural kind of progression of that. And Madders was, yeah, he's absolutely fantastic. He's still doing stuff now, I believe, but he's looking after and teaching young kids about sort of like staying away from drugs and helping them out a little bit for that. So that's a good thing. That's a good.
that's a really good thing, because that is one thing in the industry that I don't think spoken enough about, and we do include a few interview podcasts with recovering alcoholics and people in this, because it has that dark side, you know, uh,
Very much so. Very much so.
and it's not really talked about, and I lost a lot of friends in Ibiza because of it, and I don't drink because of it, and I've been 8 years sober, and it's yeah, it grabs hold of you fast,
Well,
and
it's kind of like what are the job that you go to where you literally told to kind of drink and stuff. When I kind of had a sober time, for whatever reasons, it was people would be quite offended if I didn't have a drink, or
absolutely.
it was like, "Oh, I'm paid for you to come out and then to drink," and you
Mm.
know things. So you'd kind of just have a sneaky shot and throw it to the side or
No,
something.
I totally agree. We were the generation of drug takers and alcohol,
Yeah.
real drinkers. Like that nowadays, they're a lot more. They're more gentle going. They're more into their health and
Yes.
more conscious. Plus, I don't think clubbing is as it's not every weekend now
Yes.
as it used to be. Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday, we'd all be out and then go to work on Monday. And
See?
if you're lucky enough, you worked in the music business, and it was okay to be hungover.
Yes.
You know,
Exactly. Thinking
now
about what you did at the weekend was like the best
exactly
story, isn't it?
what other industry is like that?
There isn't,
In,
is there?
so we could get away with absolute murder. So yeah, I mean, I crossed that invisible line when I was in Ibiza, and when I come back to England, I was just like, holy moly, I am not a normal person, But this is I needed a drink everywhere I went, and And it was just like, yeah, time to get some help. And yes,
When you're doing that and you're in those places, the nightclubs and the bars and the things like that, it all is, isn't it? Drinking and having fun. So
I
yeah,
loved it. I loved
yeah,
it. I had a great time. It was absolutely awesome. Like I lived in Ibiza for over 10 years, all
amazing.
year round,
Wow.
and it's all we did. It was just and but then the latter years of my drinking was just catastrophic.
Yeah.
And luckily I managed to get out of it before it was too late because a lot of people don't. Um, with your career, when do you remember when Lisa Lashes he was becoming a name in the scene? When did you start realizing, hold on, there's something here now? I'm really starting to this could be a proper career for me.
Well, it was when I kind of gave up my job at Marks and Spencer. So
There
while
we
I
go.
was playing, so I was playing at the Square on a Sunday in Birmingham. I was, as I said, I was playing in Birchall on Trent, Dustle Dawn, and a few little bits. And I thought to myself, I was only sort of getting like 50 quid, 40, 50 quid or something. But when that started, I said to myself, as soon as I start making more money than my Marks and Spencer's job, I'm going to quit. And it was a difficult decision because obviously I had a stable job, all the ladies there, I'd been there 8.5 years, nearly 9 years, and they were all my family. I was 16 when I started. Then there's your pension and this, what everyone wants to tell you, oh, you should be doing that. That's not safe.
Yeah, yeah, it's a big
That
risk.
didn't happen. That's the thing. Very glad I didn't listen to them. But yeah, I just handed my notice in one morning when I played about 4 or 5 gigs in Birmingham one weekend. Went to M&S on the Monday, and I thought, what? I want to go make some music. I want to come and like actually sort of make this my purpose, really. So
Free up your time and basically you
yeah,
listened to your gut, didn't you? Your
yes,
gut told you to
yeah,
I always listen to my gut. If it doesn't feel right, there's something not
great,
right.
isn't it?
Yeah, and I'll always follow that feeling. And when I spoke to Jules last, he said at that period in time there was no career path to being a DJ or a producer. It was kind of like you're making it up as you were going along. And you were obviously of that generation.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a massive risk for you, wasn't it?
Well, thankfully, Dan Prince, as we all would know Dan Prince, he was kind of like one of the business partners who came in with for Sunday Central. So he then started a DJ agency called Centro with Catherine Kenzie, Al McKenzie's wife, and yeah, took me on board. So that was when things kind of really started. When you kind of get an agent, and Dan being Dan, he knows absolutely everybody anyway. So yeah, it was a great thing. So I went
And you
first.
were one of one of the first female DJs to break through into the top
Yeah,
10 and DJ Mag's top 100. Now that was when it was the proper top 100, in my opinion. Not
yeah,
like it is now, where you see it's a little bit flaky. I won't go into the politics of it all, but back then, when you looked at like I mean, like, what years are we talking? What year was that? Can you remember that you started it?
So I started no 1996. So this would have been about, I would say, like 1999, 2000. I would have thought.
And that was there's some big names in that top 10.
Yes. Oh, huge names. So I think because so Roman Tristan, who works with CAA now, amazing agent, and one of my best friends, he basically took me there. He had this vision of, I was playing lots of places. I was playing Sunday Central to 2,500 people every Sunday. I was playing with Jules and Oakenfold and Tall Paul and people like that. And I'd only really just started, so I wasn't even a name out there. But I think what happened was because I really did go quite quickly up into the ranks. And we'd be in Argentina or America or different things, and Roman would have these amazing ideas of let's do some stickers and let's do this, and got this voting system going. And yeah, I found myself in number 9 of the top 100. We're like, that's
And that was before the days of social media and when people
media.
properly voted. How did
Yeah,
they vote? Could you remember how they voted back then?
even vote, probably text
Was
messages
it
as in
text
all the
messages? And even letter. Probably even by letter.
or something. I've no idea. That's a great question. I don't know.
I can't remember. So big question. Did that put when you started getting that sort of success and that notoriety, especially with the top 100, because DJ Mag was really well read
Yes,
back then, had a
around the
big
world.
big readership.
Yes.
Um, obviously it's big online now, but did that put a lot of pressure on you?
Feel any pressure really. I did. There wasn't.
Okay.
It was just an accolade that was amazing, and I just kind of took it and put it in my pocket because I feel like as well. There's so I when somebody votes, people vote for you, and you're number 9 in the charts and stuff. I feel like there's so many good other DJs out there. I don't feel like it's all. I should have it all kind of thing. So I kind of like, yeah, I felt a little bit not guilty, but okay, that's just a thing.
But it's a massive thing as well because obviously people will want to book you as well. Did your bookings?
Oh, massive. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. I think that is now why there is so much pressure on the top 100 to perform because I know clubs in Central Europe and Eastern Europe who will only book certain acts if they're in that top 50, or the top 20, or if you're not in that top 100, forget about it. And which I find is a bit weird because
Well, how can you do the new talent come through when it's like that? It's difficult. And then a
yeah,
lot of people who are in the top 100 are very established and have got hundreds of thousands or millions of followers and stuff. So how can you compete with that?
yeah, exactly. And so how quickly did you go from your transition from the small clubs to like the global gatherings and things like that? That was fast, yeah?
Probably within months. That was in months.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It was pretty insane, really. So myself and Fergie, we started playing for Godskitchen is it on their Fridays, I think, which was Polysexual. So and obviously Godskitchen have the global gathering. So we were straight in there, playing in there. So it was a good Birmingham and those catchment areas were great for musicians and people like that because the clubs were amazing. That was where I kind of literally.
Yeah. So you had kind of I mean, one recent lady who has just flown in a year as two of them, as Hannah Lang.
Yes.
She exploded playing at the Highlander, and you
Yeah.
played for her not too long ago, didn't you? At Doof?
15,000 in Dundee. Uh,
Yeah, which was meant to be amazing.
it was brilliant, and
Yeah,
like all credit to her for putting that together because people go, oh, it's just putting up a couple of tents and doing this and
no.
that. No, that's a year in the making, something like that, in a smaller town as well. So
Yeah.
amazing.
No, she's great. I never got to meet her. She came a couple of years after I'd left Ibiza, but she worked for my friends in the Highlander, and apparently they
Yes,
had. Well, I know they had a Highlander stage
yes,
there,
they did. Yeah, like
and
replica.
I posted it on my One More Time Ibiza socials, and it's got thousands and thousands of likes and
But
comments and stuff. And I spoke to her agent. I said, I've got to speak to Hannah on a podcast because I love how she still honors that where she started.
yes,
I
great.
really like that. I really
Yes,
like, and it's
yeah,
very like Hannah wants.
yes,
She went off in one year as well. She went
yes.
from playing in Viva Bar in Ibiza at the top of the West End to next year coming back and closing Amnesia. I think it was either that year or the year after. But she went back and played at Viva
Or like,
for the night. And I was just like, you know what, that's really, really cool.
yes,
And I love it when DJs actually is it homage to
yes,
where
yeah.
they come from? Because I don't think that happens enough. And in Ibiza, there's so much. I mean, it's so much competition as a DJ nowadays, and to break through just like
Yeah.
that. And I
We
think Hannah broke through with a big track, didn't she? Was it a big track she produced?
Hannah,
Lang.
yeah, she did 3 a.m. in the morning. That one, which went on all Capital Radio and Radio One and stuff like that, didn't it? It had proper play. So yeah, it's really cool. I love
Awesome.
yeah, love what she's doing. I mean, unfortunately, her best friend passed away when she did her doof in the park. Um, but she pulled it out of the bag. She was absolute, perfection, really, and yeah,
Yeah.
professional.
I did see something about that, and I just really, really felt for her. But
And it's
for
sad,
what?
isn't it? Because that's what you kind of have to do, isn't it? Even though I've been a few times where it's been like something's happened and I've still had to go and play because the place is booked and you can't let people down. So it's a really difficult thing for you as personal thing for you as well because you feel bad about going out and having fun, or performing to your
Yeah,
audience stuff when you've just had the most saddest news ever, but you
yeah. No,
that,
I understand. I mean, especially with promoting events, we get it. Sometimes we just don't want to even be there, but the show must go on,
let's
as
go.
as they
Yeah,
say.
amen.
And
Let's go.
and so obviously, w- were you a bit were you a bit taken aback by how quickly you went from playing to like small clubs to all of a sudden thousands of people? It must have been like, whoa, what is happening here?
Absolutely. I mean, to play to like Homelands, I think was one of the first one that was in
Yeah.
Winchester, wasn't it? So that was
Yeah.
like 99, would it have been 99? So I was only kind of playing a year or so, like professionally after that, a couple of years professional. So when I went and took Jaws off, and then she came was on after me, um, you got 10,000 people in that place. It was like the scariest thing, walking up the stairs and going, like, thankfully, I had all my friends with me. So I always say to my friends, they brought the party, which I think solidified my presence in my DJ career, because there wasn't just me coming into the DJ booth or the club and stuff like that. There was probably 10, 15 of my girly friends as well. We had convoys.
That was kind of your support system.
Yes,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, yeah. So I was just about to ask what was your most surreal I've made it moment, but obviously playing at those festivals so
Yeah.
quickly must have been like, well, I'm here now. I've arrived. I'm doing.
Well, in
I'm
2000,
glad I quit. I'm glad I quit M&S.
what should I do? Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. But yeah, it's a big thing, isn't it, when you've got like a solid job that you've been there forever. But yeah, in 2000, I in Millennium, I played Cape Town in South Africa. So that was to 9,000 people in a big conference hall thing, and massive. It was amazing, like, so that's kind of one of the moments that I thought, okay, that this is quite big. Yeah, Millennium, like, oh, hope the equipment works.
Yeah, 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 of course, of course. Was it the Millennium bug that never
Yeah,
happened?
it was supposed to go off, but we didn't really have that much tech back then anyway, did we?
No, no, no. It wasn't. It wasn't that complicated then, was it?
No, it was all
So
good.
we spoke about the Euphoria album series, which has become legendary. How did that all come about?
Well, that was Roman Tristan again, my agent. Um he was down in London with Guy on Nadal, actually. So he started working with Guy. And Guy had the connection with Sony BMG and Euphoria and Eddie Short. So, yeah, they were just looking for, they'd already done the trance, I think, and then they got the chilled out Euphoria, like the whites and the greys and the different colours. And they wanted to do a hard house one. So, yeah, they asked me, and I was like, yeah, 100%. Yeah, please, I'll do it. And the biggest thing was, Big Brother just started that year, and the first advert was Euphoria advert straight after the first series program that they aired. So can you imagine the hundreds of thousands of people that saw that? So
Well, that I would have been one of them.
yeah, me too.
I was hooked on that Celebrity Brother that first
Yeah,
year. I still remember
yeah,
watching it and who I was
yeah,
with. It was just like it was such a different thing, that whole
yes.
reality thing, and the guy that cheated, and he got chucked out, didn't he? Nick, is it
It was like
nasty
yeah,
Nick? Yeah, and everyone hated him.
yeah,
Yeah, no, and yeah, no. So that obviously got massive publicity, and then
massive.
the Tidy Girls,
Yes,
obviously connected to Tidy.
yes,
Um,
yeah.
whose initiative was that?
That was the Tidy Boys, so that would have been Amadeus
Yeah,
and Andy Pickles. So they'd already got their Music Factory Entertainment Group up in up north, Rotherham. So they were already talking with Lisa Pinup, Rachel Urban, and Savage, and they were looking for a fourth. So they then spotted me that I was the resident at Cindy Central. So that's how that kind of come about.
It was genius.
Yeah, I know. I know. And that was 25 years last year. We did the party down at the Opera House in Birmingham, Bournemouth. So yeah, the 25 years of the Tidy Girls and their first release. So we did another release as well. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But why did we wait 25 years? I'm already like, girls, let's do more.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as I said to you before, I'm not going to go into the amount of records you produce and all the records because we'll be here all day. I think that would be an entirely different podcast. Um, but you produced a lot of Tidy Girls. Well, on vinyl. I
Yes.
remember some really really big hitters.
Well, Looking
which
Good
really
was
old
the
of you.
first one on
Sorry?
Looking Good, which is the
Yes,
one of
yes.
the biggest selling hard house tracks actually to date. So that's pretty awesome. So that was on the Tidy Girls album, and then we just all released after that, sort of like under our own kind of names and stuff. So
Yeah, no, I was flicking through it yesterday and I was just like, oh
yeah,
my God, I'm no way gonna go into the production side with Lisa because we're gonna be here for absolute ever. You know, we could talk about the records you produced, but it's quite prolific. And you're still producing today.
I am. Yes, ready for potentially an album for next year. So yeah, it'll be my 30th year in the industry. So yeah, I've flipped and flopped to different styles and yeah, but my love is hard house. I just love that high energy kind of making
Yeah,
people
yeah, yeah.
feel silly o'clock in the morning, really.
I've gone full circle again back into Hard House. I think quite a few people have.
Well, I think
Um,
that when I see people, like when I've been to the Warehouse Project and Park Life and stuff like that, and I've gone backstage and had a look at, just checked out some of the DJs and stuff, and pretty much every one of them was like, "We started Hard House, and now they're doing what they're doing now." You know, Alan Fitzpatrick, I put his track on
yeah.
my Euphoria, which is Test Tube Babies, and you know, he's techno scene is huge now, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's I've read quite a bit about Alan Fitzpatrick, but he's played quite a lot of hard stuff, hasn't he?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
so
got
who
that
else?
house twinge, I know that.
And Carl Cox, he's championed some of your music as well.
He has. Well, I mean, my goodness, I just I made some tracks. I'm just at home making tracks because I'd normally go into like a proper studio with an engineer, producer. I never really wanted to make my own tracks. I had them in me, but I never could put them down onto computer. So but the techno, I kind of made myself. I made myself. So I did three tracks, and I got my one of my friends, and I said, "Let's go to Ibiza." Carl's playing that last year in Space. I want to get him some. See if he plays some tracks, right? So anyway, it was such a surreal time. Got to Space. Dave Browning took me into the back room. Saw Carl. Carl was like, got me a drink or whatever. And I gave him a USB, and because I've known him for years and years and years anyway, so he's an amazing, beautiful soul human, you know, that connects everything through music. So I gave him these three tracks and didn't think he was going to play them that night. He played them one after the other. I was like, and it wasn't the nicest experience because I thought, hey, what about if I've left, I haven't finished it up properly, or I've left a kick drum in there, or do you know what I mean? That was the first time
How
I'd
did
ever.
he even had time to flick through them?
Oh, well, he didn't. He obviously trusted me, and I was like, what?
God, you were like, I hope this has been mastered
I
properly.
know exactly. It was like, oh gosh, I hope I hadn't, you know, got the wrong one on the thing. Can you imagine? But
Oh my Lord, yeah.
yeah,
Oh
so
God,
Kylie
could you?
Minogue and um, a couple of supermodels and Naomi Campbell and stuff like that dancing to a couple of my tracks. I was like, this is the most surreal moment.
Oh, I
But
love it. I love it. I love speaking to the old school people because it's just there's so many stories there,
yeah,
and I do follow a lot of podcasts, but there's so much depth when it comes to the 90s and people come from the 90s, 2000, 2010, 2020s. And I could do 10 podcasts for each and every one of you. Um, now, do you ever plan sets or does it all just come
um,
organically?
I
Or does it
would, you know,
depend on where you're playing?
it depends on where I'm playing. So, you know, in record box style, do a palette. I'll know what tunes are in, kind of, you know, I've got thousands to choose from, and I'll just kind of I normally do a bit of research, who's playing before, who's playing after, what kind of club it is and stuff. And you know, in the hard house realm, I'll probably pick out two or three that I'll play, but I literally never play them. I'm like, I just go, no, just play that one. You know, it freaks people out when I have no idea I'm actually going to play yet. But I know four good intros or four good, you know, that kind of thing, and then I just check out what the vibe is really.
And with your tunes, I remember you always made them mixable.
I did, didn't I? That's
Yeah, yeah. I learned on vinyl,
yeah,
and who did I have a conversation with? It was Mr. Tizera.
Mr. Step.
He said to someone who was producing great tracks at the time, and another podcast that is yet to be produced because we talked so much in the first one the second one's coming out next week or the week after yours. Um, that he advised a producer to make it more mixable because the intros were not easy for the DJ to mix. The tunes were great, but you could
Yeah.
only either begin the set or
Yes.
end the set, and it was
Yeah.
very difficult to drop it into a set.
Especially if there's been some, some DJs have done or producers have done something where they've took a full beat out and it just wrecks your whole like mixing thing.
Yeah, which did happen sometimes. I remember that, and and that particular producer then invited Rob into the studio to make them more mixable. And
Hey,
your tunes are
yeah,
really mixable, aren't they?
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just knack of kind of like finding something. It just comes to me. Like I sometimes don't even go to the studio with an idea, and when I'm driving up to the studio, whatever, I'll something will come on the radio or this, or I'll just have a thought about something, and I'm like, right, we're going to do that today. And it's I try to make them kind of not too underground, but familiar kind of things, and I've thankfully and gratefully been able to make tunes that are in that realm. So yeah,
They're still relevant. You know,
yeah,
so many of the hard house tunes and the tracks that say Tidy and similar labels made Tripoli tracks and things
yeah.
like that. They're still you would drop them today and they'll still go crazy. You know,
Yeah.
I saw Tall Paul the other day taking pictures of Commisera um,
Yes, love
being
it.
played by James Hype.
Oh, was it? Yes,
And the
it did.
place was going crazy, and he was just like, "I had no idea this would be like this 30 years later."
I know, it's mad, isn't it? Yeah,
Uh,
we have 3 copies of that down in the basement.
that so do you ever get nervous before
I always get
sets?
nervous. I
Good.
c Good.
I'm glad you're honest.
100%. I'm always like have a little bit of a shake or a little bit of a butterflies and stuff like that. Of course I do, because you want to perform your best, really, don't you? You want to play the music that people want to dance to. You want to make memories for people as well. So yeah, there's still a lot. It's not just pressing buttons and whatever. I do have a big thought process around it, and I always go quiet as well. My friends already or no, leave me alone for the first hour before I'm going to play because I'm just thinking. That kind of
Getting in the zone.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I think with vinyl it was more difficult because it's much more hands-on and much more
Yeah.
delicate. So you used to get the shakes a little bit as
A
well, you
little
know.
bit
So like, oh God, what's going on here? But I suppose with digital, it's a little bit more
yeah.
solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you think it was really important that you went into producing as well? Was it a thing for you when you started DJing? You were like, right, I'm DJing now. I have to produce.
Um, it was, I think it was, I was obviously working early doors with the Tiger Girls and stuff, so I was producing there. But I think just before that, I was making a couple of tunes. But as soon as I got introduced to Tidy, that was logical progression to be going up there and making some tunes and stuff. So
A lot of DJs didn't in that era. They were just DJs, weren't they? And you, obviously, I saw your tracks in many a record shop for many a year in the in the early 2000s.
yeah,
Yeah, no, but then I think nowadays you have to uh,
yes.
be a producer as
More than
such.
anything, really, isn't it? It's because
Yeah,
I mean, with the nightclubs as well, sort of like, so on the board of directors for Nighttime Industries Association. So the stats for the clubs that are closing down are terrifying, really. I mean, there's way more DJs and artists and musicians out there than there are venues at clubs now. So that's a kind of scary time. So people have to be producing, DJing, just full-time job. I mean, social media is a full-time job for DJs if they haven't hired anybody. It's like,
yeah, it's scary. I'm seeing this trend through the podcast that it is harder and harder and harder, and the the break even points are getting harder as well, and it's not viable. Clubs are not viable to open every week now because the demographic just will not go clubbing every week because it's not really as much as an Instagrammable experience as saying going to Creamfields or Tomorrowland or somewhere like that, where they would rather save up their money and go to 2 or 3 events and go out every single week like we did. Then,
yes, we
you
we
know,
need.
I don't think there was really that many festivals back
I
then,
don't
was
think there
there?
was. I mean, Global and
Yeah.
Home Homes, and especially in the UK, they were kind of like the first one.
Tribal gathering and
Yes, yeah,
yeah, and things
yeah.
like that, but besides that, I don't think I mean,
Wasn't many.
obviously some of the early raves, you could say they were the size of festivals and they did go on for a couple of days, but they were never really, the festival wasn't a word that was
No,
readily thrown around, whereas now festival is,
the main thing, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, it's more than a nightclub, isn't it? You don't go
Yeah,
clubbing, no,
yeah.
it's all
I
about
mean,
festivals.
people will save up to go to Tomorrowland or Amsterdam, and to the festivals abroad as well, because they are so well organized. They are amazing, aren't they? And you probably get a bit more of a better weather than they do in the UK, because that's
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose clubbing comes into it a lot more when you go to Ibiza, where you've got
yes,
the
yeah,
clubs. But now, especially this year, we've seen that the the club the clubbing is more of a show now. It's just it's so impressive what's going on in there. It's not raw. It's not dark and underground with sweat
yeah,
dripping from the ceilings anymore. It is high end, high end. I
yeah.
mean, some of them you might,
Children,
yeah. And it's
I
just
mean,
like these kids are like, oh my God,
yeah,
and I don't blame them for a minute getting their
yeah,
phones out because they're
that's
like, look at this,
yeah.
and I bet if we had phones when we were,
So glad we
r-
didn't.
oh, I'd be in prison
Yeah, we didn't.
or a loony bin.
Yeah,
One of those two. There's absolutely, but yeah, um, you can see why people are so phone addicted to their phones. With obviously the dopamine hits. Look at this, and when you see like some of the production levels is just it's just
I mean,
mind blowing.
Tomorrowland unfortunately had that fire, didn't they, on their main stage, which is disastrous for them. But sometimes, but it brought it all back to basics, didn't it? Did you hear about the fire?
Yeah. I actually did a very small video about it on this channel, and I read something, funnily enough, Lisa, just before I got here, that some of the DJs saying it was a real pleasure just to get back to basics.
Basics, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
I think the production's great, but I think it's just spiraled. I wouldn't say out of control. I just think the technology is so advanced now, and with AI now coming in and so much more, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. The budgets are getting bigger. The corporates are
yes,
getting bigger. I think corporates have taken over the music
yeah.
industry,
I
whereas
think
the little boys have been shoved out.
it's so good
And
though, because their passion may not be there, isn't it? When power and money take over passion, like
I
that's every point.
Yeah, I totally identify with that because in Ibiza, my business partner Dean always used to get cross with me because all I was interested was making it a good party.
Yeah,
I was never interested in the money,
yeah,
and he was like, "Well, we got to make a living out of this."
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
are you paying people correctly? I was like, I don't know. It was a wicked party though, wasn't it? And that was all I was worried about. And I suppose to an extent, I still am, but I'm much more focused on the data now. I work in digital media, and now I work with Nick Ferguson, who
Yes,
from
yes,
Cream, and because he is a professional promoter who's got his eye on the ball, eye on the numbers. I used to never check my ticket sales, and since I met Nick, I'm like monitoring them. We've got like graphs, data, and everything because we're still independent. We're not a corporate. And yeah. And before I met Nick, I never. He used to scare me looking at like attendance. You've of course we're going on to it. Lashed. I remember Lashed. The first, Eden.
was a 16-week extravaganza of craziness.
Yes, it was. Now, was it tied in with Judgment at all?
No, Judgment did the following year, so they did. So that's when I kind of stopped that year, because I think it was. I mean, it was really hard going to do a whole season, and you couldn't just do a month, sort of thing.
No,
You had
no.
to do those whole 16, 18 weeks, and yeah, it like literally nearly killed me and Roman and Gaz. Gaz from Vegas. Yeah, we did it all. But I was very glad that I came away each time, where they stayed there for that 16 weeks, and every week I'd go back.
I
They were
remember that. I was living there at the time.
like,
We used to go down there all the time. But yeah, I mean, so were you a part of the promotional side of it, or were you
no, no.
no? So that was down to the other guys.
Yeah, you could go over there and do that. I'm gonna go to Argentina and
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. So you left them with the sleepless nights and the club politics. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they just were running the like doing the most amazing promotions in Ibiza at that time.
Yeah,
We thought about like the Lash. So we in London we organised like a dancing competition thing. So we were going to book a lot of girls and guys to come and over to Ibiza with us, and they were the Lashettes. I mean, they're in the Urban Dictionary now for the Lashettes
yeah.
that dancers for me in my events and stuff. So and you know, so they looked after 25 dancers over there. So I was like, good luck, bye. I'll be back on Sunday. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's brilliant. So, and what do you remember when you first ever played in Ibiza?
I do. I played at Cafe Del Mar actually for was it Centro, which was Dan Prince. Like, yeah, that was when I first started with the agents.
You played at Cafe Del Mar, Lisa Lash's Cafe Del Mar. The two don't really match up with me because that's really chilled.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so you played a little bit of a different
yeah,
genre. You play right across the board, yeah?
yeah. Of course,
That's
I've done
so I mean,
hundreds of thousands of
I can't
clients.
stress how important that is to new.
Yeah,
I'm not a DJ. To new DJs coming out, I think you might agree with this. It is so important to play literally everything.
yeah,
Like the different, like when some of my the Dirty Rottens who I used to play with, when they were very big in Ibiza, they were like the promoter used to say, "What do you play?" And they were like, "What do you want us to play?"
yeah.
You
Okay.
know, and that was the difference between I play house and tech. Well, we don't play that here, but they could play everything from 70s, 80s, disco through to breaks, techno, hard house.
Yeah,
I think Gaz was even at Gay Crasher but they were doing the toilets at Manumission so it was just like they played everything. And I
yeah,
think that really put them in a good stance
for sure.
when they're in Ibiza. Is that something you would advise
Uh,
people
I
coming through now?
try and find your first love, which
Yeah,
was always it always has been hard house, and then
yeah, yeah.
if you want to divert out of there because of just music centers. I feel more it's more accessible now, obviously, isn't it? It's like vinyl. We wouldn't have probably bought 10 genres of music because it cost us a fortune. We wouldn't have been able to do that. So back in the day, very much the vinyls that you bought were your genre of music and your style. But mine was like hard house and some trance and breaks and stuff. But now music is so accessible, isn't it? That it's
I couldn't even
so
afford the hard
difficult.
house back then. I used to come back every week, every Saturday with a bag of records, and then and wish I could have bought like 20 more. But and then I'd get to the club or the Saturday night and that evening and hear even more good tunes, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh, I've got to go.
But yeah,
Eh,
I used to do in Nuneaton, they used to have when I was working at Marks and Spencer still, they used to have this pound shop kind of thing. And they used to get all these off I don't know where they got them from, like Sony and stuff like that. I used to send them all the off bits that they didn't couldn't sell. So I used to go in, buy them for £1, and then go back the next day, the next week, just like swap them for another £1. Right, you can have that one back, I'll have that one kind of thing. And that's why I kept my collection really fresh each time I played out. It was this pound shop that was keeping me going.
That's a little secret that no one knew. No. I remember I used to find the best value used to be sometimes HMV.
Yes, yes,
Do you remember the HMV days? We get three for a tenner.
yeah. It was brilliant. You remember on Saturday morning, everyone was like, kind of like,
You had the turntables there as well, even in HMV, and they used to try and strap the head case on so people didn't the shell case so people didn't nick it. Um, so do you still go to Ibiza to this day? Then yes.
yes, I still go to Ibiza. Yeah, I don't play there so much. So what I did, I basically 2018 I started the Leeds Slashing School of Music. Um, that was the week that I got diagnosed as being type 1 diabetic. So I was kind of like I was kind of like, I was finding it difficult to basically go out and DJ at night times and stuff like that, but absolutely didn't know why. Obviously I was type 1 diabetic, and that's one of the main things is like my levels were ridiculously high to the
What does
point
that
that
mean? Is it tiredness, or is it I'm not familiar with diabetes really. So what is
so
it
type 1 diabetes is where you have no insulin, so your pancreas doesn't produce any insulin. So if you then it's got carbohydrates and sugars in, your readings just go through the roof. When they found me, I was at 38. Well, the actual normal is between 5 and 7, as a reading, and I was like 38. So I was straight on, injecting insulin 8 times a day from the
8 times a day? Ooh, wow.
So it's so anytime you eat, anytime you I don't I mean, I'm on the, waiting list for artificial pancreas. It's been 15 months or whatever, which will help me out a lot. But yeah, I mean, especially with the food these days and, I'm traveling to a gig and I need to eat something. There's nothing that I can eat really, so
So
you
do
have
you
a
s-
bit
do you
of
still inject that many times a day?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So that really that
your
that
pet
he-
with
okay. So that
yeah,
obviously massively
yeah,
stops you from traveling, because I know when I get to Ibiza, the food's shit unless you really look for it,
yeah,
or you cook it yourself, or
it's
and
yeah,
even at the fancy restaurants, it's like, well, it's still fancy food, isn't it? And
yes,
probably not ideal for a diabetic as
no.
such.
I
Um,
very rarely eat out now because
yeah, you have
yeah,
to cook for yourself. Yeah,
yeah, all the time, all the time.
yeah,
Fresh stuff
okay.
all the time. So it was a whole different thing. So for me going to, Australia or America or different things, I was just finding it really difficult. So I kind of like pulled away a little bit. But then I concentrated on the school and made some amazing DJs and musicians.
Yeah, let's move on to that. I never knew that about your diabetes, but so the universe moved you in a
Yeah.
different direction, and then I was following your adventure with the Lisa Lash's School of Music since really, really early days, because at the same time I was running a DJ tech website, which was doing really, really well until Google took all our traffic in a couple of years ago. And I remember watching your growth as well. When did you start that?
So that was 31st of May 2018.
2018. So that was just before that was before COVID. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
because we started our DJ tech as COVID hit, because all of a sudden we had no events, I had no job. And I'd always wanted to do like something to do with music online, don't know what to do. And we were doing blogs. We had a cat blog that was
Okay.
it was doing
Interesting.
really well. It was called We Love Cats and Kittens, and I was helping my friend out with it, and I said, well, now we've got the time, let's do this DJ tech site, and it blew up. And as it started to get really popular, we you were popping up on the radar a lot,
Like that.
because
Yeah.
we were thinking of which do we pivot into education, and then we were looking at all these courses, and it was like there's a lot out there, and it's difficult to teach it online. I know people like Crossfader and those, they do it really well, but they've got it pretty much sewn up. But you weren't like that, were you? You were more hands on.
Yeah, so we rented venues. So in Northampton we had a nightclub there, so two floors of nightclub. In Manchester we did Tiger, so we hired that for which is 3 floors there. Um, and we were fully funded by the government. So people that came were obviously sort of on either universal credit or something else or whatever. So that's how we could do the free kind of thing. They didn't hand over hundreds of thousands of pounds of money for us. It would be that particular person was worth that if they went through that course. So we did maths and English with we were like we are a stage 4 alternative provision. So we'd take all the kids that wouldn't go to school, were about to be excluded. We were like, come to us. We'll give you a 12-week course, and we put them straight back into education. And the teachers and the head teachers were like, "What have you done with this child? The child is completely different." So we then went to while we were delivering one of the courses in Northampton, the police sergeant came in to do a fire check, and he was like, "What's going on here?" Um, and he said, "Would you like to come and have? We would really like to work with you for some of our kids who are getting into some serious trouble."
Mm.
So we started doing. It was called a community initiative to reduce violence. We had 40 odd kind of people that come straight through with the police. So can do 3 days a week with us, accompanied with the police and stuff as well. So it was very because there was gangs and stuff like that as
Yeah,
well.
controlled, yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, we've got police and everything over there." We're like, "Shit, we need to take them around the back and they gotta go," it was like all like that. But out of all of them, I mean, some of them would have got guns and this, they're all going to prison. They'd all got tags on. After the 12 week, not one of them reoffended, and still to the day, not one single one has reoffended. So, but I just don't understand why the government wouldn't give us money to be able to do that. And we tried and tried, went down to London to the mayor. We've done so much to do that, but you just sometimes doesn't happen.
And so that is what's kind of brought an obstacle against it now. I had no idea you were doing that to that
It was
level with
amazing. Yeah.
helping the kids. And why wouldn't the government want to invest into trying to clean up the streets a bit? Because it is kids killing kids out there, isn't it?
If they went to prison, it would be what were they saying, like 30,000-40,000 pound a year to look after them. Where they come to us, it's a few grand a person over 12 weeks. Like it's not that hard, is it? To
No,
calculate?
no. I've seen a lot of this violence in South London where I'm from, and it is kids. A lot of it is young teenagers fighting, and they're not just fighting with their hands. It's brutal. And
Yeah,
I said to one of my friends, someone's going to get killed in this particular area we used to live, because they kept on being like these literally riots after school in the high street, and eventually someone got killed. Um, and it's just like, wow, these are like, and then when people ask me when I'm in Croatia, why don't you still live in London?
yeah, yeah. Scary.
Yeah,
And
and then when you try and explain to them the some of the problems, because London obviously has its great sides as well, fantastic sides, but it's got this dark underground side that we
they lost
saw.
control. They say they've lost control of that kind of age group. So what we were doing as a provision was, kind of there's so many of them with such uh well, challenging stories, like scary stories and stuff. But with that, they would write lyrics for us and they would do some rapping and stuff like that. We put them in the studio, and I cannot tell you how amazing some of the artists were, from 11 years old to like 25, 26. That's what we'd used to do with the police contract. Um, they were absolutely exceptional. Like that, we did music with them, we did events with them. They did like anything that was creative. They would do graffiti artisting, doing this and that. That was our whole course, really. And they were just bored out of their faces. They couldn't afford to go to a studio, couldn't afford to do this. They didn't have nothing that was given to them. No youth clubs, no this.
The clubs have closed, even the evening clubs have closed. That's what kept me out of trouble.
Yeah.
Was I used to go raving. I don't know what I would have done at the weekends, because I was with a really great bunch of people. A lot of them I'm still in touch with today.
Yeah.
Most of us have gone on to have fruitful careers,
Yes.
um, just with bad memories.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, and yeah, I don't know what I would have done, but there is so little of them to do. Are you still going to pursue this?
Oh,
Uh,
100%.
Good,
100%. We've still
good.
got the charity side of the school. So it's just we put so much work into it. And then when lockdown happened and then they changed all the training academies and pulled all the funding back, it's been very difficult, really, really difficult to even get any money from the schools or colleges and things like that, really.
I was about to ask what
And
what.
it's an expensive we were running an expensive kind of provision because we were having the Rob Tesseras, we were having the Anne Savages and BKs. They're all our tutors. So just my friends, who are amazing musicians. Like they give the kids like so much hope and stuff, and that's why after a couple of weeks when they got to know them, because it's all about the trust and stuff like that.
Mm.
Jerry Riot was one of our amazing events people, hardcore, like into his massive hardcore. So he'd be off to us for the weekend, and he'd still come back on the Monday, and the kids would be like, "Yeah, what did you do at the weekend?" It's like that, and they were like, literally blown away. And then they kind of realized that they didn't have to do drugs and this and whatever to have a life that they wanted to do, because they all wanted to be little gangsters, but while doing
Yeah, 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 yeah.
in the music world. And then they're still doing it now, some of them, which is
Yeah, this
amazing.
is what I was going to say. Already, many of them still making music. Have any of them
Music,
broken through?
some broken through. So I remember in the Manchester cohort that we only had spaces for 30 and funding for 30. I brought 85 people in. But so like similar to you, I'd be like, oh, it doesn't matter, come on in. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever. So they did like 12-week course with us. Well, one of the girls, Lubo, she's amazing, from Mexico. She came over as a favor actually from Nick from Circle Loco. He was like, have you got funding for Mexico? I said no, but I'll put her through. And she's now ASAP Rocky. She's playing, warming up for next week. She's played with Paul Cox and stuff like that. There's DJ Adriana, there's Shauna Van Der Peer. They're all smashing it, these girls are. We've got Mad Beats, the guy in Manchester that I put through that we didn't have funding for. He's warming up for Alan Fitzpatrick this weekend in Manchester. I love I love that. Do you know what I mean? That for me is like, wow. It's like seeing your kids grow up and like do amazing things. And
That
there's
must be so tough for you now. This is going to be my next question. What's been your toughest moment professionally? And I guess it's now not having that funding.
Yes. Yeah, massively. Because we
Oh,
never wanted to charge, because if it was anything, for instance, myself, I grew up on a council estate, five sisters and brothers, one of six. Um, I just didn't have the money to be going into music and stuff like that. So I always wanted, people have got music and creativeness in them from very young age. Like you just got to find that spark, which makes them tick, And if we put a monetary value on that, we'd never find those people. So I wanted it for free, and if I can't do it for free, I can't do it, But it's
yeah. I never knew I had a real passion for music until I just stumbled into like across the club in the early 90s, and if it wasn't for that, I would not have. I don't know. I was very much into my sport, but I
yeah,
wasn't quite good enough to be pro. I wanted to be, but
creative, obviously.
I wasn't quite good enough. But then I found raving and that sort of thing. But yeah, no, it's what are you doing to try and push it on? Obviously, you must be going. It must be. Do
Well,
you do not petitions as such, but like it must be going through Parliament. You've got to go MPs and stuff like
yeah,
that. Must be so complicated.
it is complicated. I mean,
Yeah,
we've met like the head of commissioners in Northampton, London, Manchester. So we've done everything right that we can do, but for them to give you a certain amount of money, that they just don't have it, do they? So, and it's really, really kind of counterintuitive when it's like you can see what this does, but you're not willing to put any effort into making it
and
happen.
all
So
the money they're spending on prisons.
just absolutely ridiculous. So, these people that could come to us as an alternative provision or on the police project are now probably in prison, a lot of them, which is really sad. I mean, we got to a point with before lockdown, the Northampton Inspector Darrell Lyons, he was taking off their like the little buddies, as they call them, for good behaviour, because he'd seen such difference. He's like, I've never known such an amazing transition of a child who's about to go to prison, been already locked up, and we're going to give him this, this chance, to now we see him on the streets. He says, and they say hi, and we have an actual relationship with these people who could be in prison by now. So what we were doing is absolutely fantastic. So, if there's anyone out there who knows,
Are
like,
they are they
well,
finding a purpose?
yeah,
They're finding a purpose for themselves. They're like, I could be doing this. There's
yes.
more to life than what I'm doing now.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
What a message that is. So yeah, if anyone out there is listening, do
yeah,
something about it.
exactly.
I'll have a think how we could support this even more
I know that
through
they're doing
this
in
platform.
Ushuaia, so I mean, even if the clubs got involved, and because all of our all of our classrooms were nightclubs. So you can imagine you've got to change the whole kind of perspective of it. You can't have some little gangsters, you would tell them, to go in a classroom and sit there with a pen and paper. That isn't going to work.
No,
So
no.
we used to go into a nightclub, Rob to Sarah would play in, we'd have all the lights and the glitter balls and stuff on and strobes and stuff, and then they'd sit in the bar area, like in the nice little seating area on the poofs and whatever. Right, here we go, let's do this lesson for today. We're going to do round robins, we're going to do some mixing, we're going to do production with BK and Frank Farrell. It was absolutely amazing. Like what we have as a provision is amazing, but we just can't find the funding at
They
the
would
moment.
never have seen anything like it.
I know, exactly. Well, we did try to go for Ofsted like 3 or 4 times, but they kind of turned their nose up at it because it wasn't a real classroom and it wasn't a real this and a real that. So it was like, well, what is real when you come to creativeness? It's like, but you can see that it's doing the job. You know,
Well, Lisa, I wish you all the luck with
thank
that,
you.
that continuing, because that is just an amazing
Yeah.
initiative. From my dad was in and out of prison all my life, so I understand what it's like when it goes to when it comes to things like that, and how it can be avoided very easily if you
Yes,
make the right choices.
exactly.
But some people just, after a while, I think it becomes ingrained
Yeah.
in that person, and they just can't stop reoffending.
Yeah.
I know that was what it was like with my old man. But moving forward to your music and modern day music, you were playing techno, back to hard house.
Yeah.
Um, what is your opinion on social media and streaming within the current music sphere?
I mean, I don't do any of the streaming kind of stuff, but obviously anything that promotes what you're doing is kind of a good thing and gets your eyes on brand, I suppose, isn't it? So, like streaming thing through lockdown. I was doing Facebook Live sessions every single Saturday. I just played from whether it was 2 or 3 hours to 10 hours. I didn't know. Do you know what I mean? And I was getting 250,000 people every Saturday, so excited for people. Like they were having a dance and party, like not bringing their friends, not supposed to anyway, into the house. And so they were connected through music all around the world, and then the streamings like Facebook and that just stopped it. Like
Yeah.
basically all of my music that I was playing was like volume down. So there's me just like, yeah, like, da, 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 like no music. So I had to
Yeah. We started getting that with Jules. Jules started doing it. I was helping Jules out with that side of the his socials when it was COVID, and he did like several, and he was getting hundreds of thousands of people watching, and all of a sudden, bang,
it was
they hit it hard, and now it seems to have relaxed a little bit,
yes,
which is just it's just annoying. Obviously, social media. Um, Weirdly, I saw something this morning, and it was like a graph saying modern day DJ, 95% social media,
yes,
5% talent, or
yeah,
whatever like that.
yeah,
I don't think that's necessarily true, but I think you have to have some savviness when it
yeah,
comes to social media nowadays, to just break through that noise. Do
yeah.
you agree?
I mean, I've just succumbed to TikTok seven last Saturday, in fact, because I run my socials anyway, do them myself. So I've got Facebook, Instagram, but yeah, I mean they're doing really well. The
It's a good
TikTok,
time TikTok to do now. I think there's a lot more people. It used to be quite a young demographic.
I think so.
I
Yes,
started One More Times, which is a 30 plus demographic, before the summer,
yeah,
and we're getting really good numbers now.
good.
So I think the demographic has shifted.
I think
More and more people are using it. So it's a good time because you can literally post one thing on TikTok and you'll get so much more reach. The algorithm is completely different to
yeah,
Insta or
yeah,
or
it is.
Facebook. So yeah, it's massively important, and I think if you don't know how to use it, just do a course or do something.
Yes, yeah,
But because there is, I find that when I'm managing people's social media, they're going, "Oh, Facebook's reach is terrible," blah blah blah. But then you look at their socials and they're just posting event images,
yeah,
or they're posting a
yeah,
track, or they're posting. uh,
Yeah.
Meta doesn't want that. They
They
want
want to see the real you. They want to see kind of like
they
a
want to see behind the scenes, real life, funny stuff that keeps the people engaged. You're not going to keep people engaged by posting a song
that's true.
or an
Yeah.
external link.
The more you kind of ask them, you post an event flyer or something to buy or buy my track and da, 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 you get nothing.
Yeah, yeah. But
Another
also on the other hand, if you post really good organic stuff,
yes,
we're really lucky because we're retro based, nostalgia based. So, and we've noticed that a lot of other pages are now posting nostalgia based content because it gets so much
yeah,
engagement. But
okay,
if you
yeah,
get your page, uh, um, if you get your overall engagement right across your page, it will when you post an event
okay, yes,
it will give that
yes,
visibility,
yeah.
But if you're
You're
just
gonna get
posting
back for
event
it.
after event after event after event, what use are you to them making money from ads? Nothing. So I just think there is a DJ has to have some sort of education when it comes to
So yeah,
marketing and saying and not saying some things online.
yeah, potentially. That's keeping it quite broad spectrum of like, okay,
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
but
Just
being
keeping being neutral, I think would be
yeah,
careful.
yeah,
And and I've had you for over an hour now, so I'm going to ask one final question. And it's a question that I hate asking, and I wish I never thought of asking it and naming the podcast One More Tune. Would you have a one more tune of the night that you would play if you were asked to?
for sure. Well, who doesn't love Faithless? So We Come One is one of my favorites. It's also, everybody knows it. It's an amazing riff and, like nostalgia from that track. I played that actually in South Africa, Cape Town, 12 o'clock when I did the Millennium as well. So, and the place just like, so every time I play it, I'm kind of back in that moment, to 9,000 people going, yeah, for Millennium. So yeah, that's my one.
So happy that I actually got a one tune from you because some people are really they just haven't got a clue what to
Oh,
say.
okay.
There's so many like, oh, I haven't got a clue, but there's so many tunes that I would say. But that's a really good ending. Lisa, I wish you all the best with your school and
Yeah.
your career, and I'll probably see you over in Ibiza.
Yes.
Yeah, later in the summer. And yeah, thank you so much for your time. I've been a big fan since I've been raving, so it's great to have you on
Very
this
kind of you.
podcast. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.